What's the millennial question?
Apparently, millennials as a generation, which is a group of people who were born approximately 1984 and after, are tough to manage.
If you ask a millennial about their fake job, they are so confident that you feel like a piece of shit.
The job market is tough, and it's especially tough for college graduates. A huge number of them are actually working at jobs that don't even require a college degree.
I am a millennial. I never thought that would sound really awful, but I really am. And so far, I think we are the lost generation.
So in 2008, I was entering the workforce, and I felt like that was just a weird time for all of us. And I never really understood that impact on our generation until COVID happened.
But today I'm not actually going to teach you how to find a job. It's just that I'm looking back at how I got to this point at my career, and when I think about it hardly, I just made a job out of traveling. I just made a job of what I really want to do, and today I want to tell you that story.
Butterfly! Butterfly! Butterfly!
Ang gugulo po nila.
So believe it or not, I was never employed and I never had an experience working in an office. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm actually trying to analyze if I did miss something by not having that office experience. I don't know. Reader emails are the best part of my week. So whenever someone tells me that they want to escape the cube they are in, I find it strange that people actually ask me what to do. So when I say the environment that forced me to do what I didn't like, I'm not talking about the office or an employer. It was just life in general. I just got sick of it at a very young age.
And remember, class, work hard and no goofing off.
And if I trace back how I did it, I just did it. There was no explanation. I couldn't figure out what was wrong, not until I left. So I just keep saying, just do it, because if you feel it in all veins of your body that you want to leave, it's not rocket science, really. You just choose a place, buy a ticket, board a plane, alight the plane, arrive at the destination, and that's when you start figuring shit out.
Para, 1, 2, 3.
Of course, I'm not saying that this style works for everyone. I'm just trying to share to you my personal experience. But for me, you don't need to plan anything yet, because you are in a very difficult state. You're trying to move from somewhere, and as long as you are still in that unhealthy surrounding, you can never really plan things. You can never understand what you want to do until you free yourself from a toxic environment. And leaving is not easy, let alone gathering the courage to book a ticket. But I've seen people who are reading this blog take the leap. Whenever I talk to them and ask how their trip is going, they always say the same thing. Leaving was the hardest part, but as soon as I did it, everything fell into place. So I guess just don't look ahead, look in front of you. What is the first step? Do you have to make traveling your job? And how do you make that happen? I have always been given all growing up, and when I have a 25 USD balance in my account during my first trip, I freaked out. So it wasn't even zero yet, but the $25 mark was kind of a sign that doomsday was coming. So for a time, that way of life towards money controlled my life 98% of the time. Having that amount was not the end of the world. In fact, where I came from, that could last you at least 2 to 4 days. But why I want to analyze why I freaked out with money. Because I was always on fast forward mode. I guess I was thinking about my future. I thought about Monday every Tuesday. I was always just 6 days ahead. And I found myself in very humbling circumstances when my parents weren't around. You know, as a 21-year-old, I remember being in financial trouble and I asked my parents for help and it just didn't work. So my mom would always say, you chose that life. Nobody forced you to do that. So learn to fend for yourself. And my mother was always right.
We're now in the desert after 1 hour. It's an hour drive from the city. And I'm wearing slippers. Oh my gosh, what a horrible.
That woman will not relent even if I tell her that I'm already sleeping on the streets. And this actually taught me how to respond in difficult circumstances. So I graduated from spending the money I didn't have to spending the money that I actually have. And it was very abrupt change of lifestyle, but to live by my means has always been, you know, challenging for me. And now it has blossomed to the habit on spending things that you can only afford and, of course, things that you only need.
La señora está usando la nena para vendernos estas. Ahora ya. Vendido.
But money, money, money. And yep, I didn't say we don't need it. Unfortunately, we can never transact anything on a daily basis without money. If you would know how penniless I was when I went to South America, but relentlessly survived 3.5 years of traveling the region. You will be surprised on how the human soul is just capable of anything, and it's actually the greatest learning I discovered from that trip. I keep confusing home to a place, but through my travels, I learned that home is where you feel the love. There will always be something in this world that you will love more than yourself. And for me, that is writing. I did not have any formal education in journalism. I studied fashion, for Christ's sake. And in the first part of this article, I said that the first thing you need to do is to gather the guts to leave. And you don't have to plan. So writing came to me as an opportunity. And through traveling, I learned that I was good in telling stories. I always told myself I am great at it, and that's how I pushed through it. I honestly never wished for people to read my stuff, but then they just did. And the stories I wrote from the broth of my experiences, from my own truth. It never slipped my mind to think about fame, but I just wanted to write and be treated like a writer. I wrote and wrote and wrote without expectations. And today, I want to believe that you readers are one of the reasons of the success of this blog. I have always been grateful for your support. And if I really want to keep seeing the world, I told myself I should do serious business with this blog. So I researched a lot and almost spent a whole year growing my blog, creating good content, and just overall growing my social media. And that level of good is based on my judgment. I found that what I really wanted to write about, and those are stories. So life happens as you read this, as your mind is playing tricks about what you are reading right now, as it is rapidly processing the thoughts and slowly planning a timeline. Life happens. It is meant to be shared because we are all unique individuals with unique lives. And I just want you to realize that no one has the same life as you have. Every day we see and experience different things. And I think this is one of the good push in believing that you and I have stories to tell.
This is the octopus. I've already tried this before and I don't like it.
No. This, sorry.
I remember when I was in Uruguay and Argentina, when I started growing the blog, I skipped a lot of mandatory tourist circuit, rented an apartment. I didn't even think I could afford it, and just focus on the blog for a whole year. So technically I was still traveling, but just, pausing. I needed to keep an eye on the price, which is the blog. And most days there was a voice inside my head saying, what if I fail? I would normally respond to that, then fail. If there's one thing that got me through, it's the drive to just keep creating. Writing was the only thing that kept me going, and writing for myself above all. So I want you to listen carefully, because this is where I made traveling my job will come in.
Oh my gosh. Kailangan sport. Charot.
I didn't have any paying job when I was building the blog. So imagine one whole year without enough money, because I even almost tried to get an online job, but then I told myself I have to drop everything, so all my energies and enthusiasm will be poured in creating content and just basically growing my contacts. When I wasn't blogging full-time, I realized that when you don't put 100% to it, it will never take off. Divided attention with other jobs will never help in achieving the level of blogging that you just want to achieve. So you need to focus on it. And then after a year of sitting down the computer every day, almost 24/7, believe me, it wasn't easy. I was rewarded with blogger trip invites, advertisements, and recognition from every major publication in the world, not just in my country. So I was on high. My work was paying off finally. But I would like to tell you about my journey from being a pauper to being a king. I experienced business and first class flights, luxury hotels. I've been invited to do public speaking. I've conducted workshops, and more than anything, has been treated with dignity as a writer. And all of this entailed hard work, loads of it. A few years ago, I was on a business class flight from Qatar to Sri Lanka, and when I landed to Colombo, I had to take a tuk-tuk for 2 days to travel all the way south. And one of my friends said, I think it's not appropriate for your image to promote business class flights and then be on a rickshaw the next. Like, it just doesn't fit.
No, o sea, como llegaron aquí, ¿quién dice que, uy, mira, hay montañas coloridas ahí?
Some people are confused about the content that I do, but I don't really specialize in anything. I'm not a backpacker, I'm not a luxury traveler, I'm not a solo female traveler. And I just write about life. And I talk about the change that is happening in me, big, small, or whatever form, in relation to creating a job for yourself. And this is what I want to do. If someone asks me about the category of this blog, I'd probably say life. And I think that's a pretty cool category.
1, 2, 3. Bienvenidos a ti.
Puno na.
And I also want to emphasize that changing your life doesn't mean that you have to travel the world. It really is not the solution to your problems. First, you need to find what makes you happy, and that you need to believe that it's important, because it truly is. That description of the life that you want, it's really up to you. So for example, no job opportunities? Create it. You want a better traffic system? Create it. You want to find parking the easy way? Create it. You have an idea on a menu or something? Put it to life and create it. Never stop creating, because this is what makes human life bearable. Now I can say I never worked a day in my life, because I finally found what I love doing. And of course, like most things, it's not like rainbows and unicorns all the time, but whenever I found myself in very difficult situations, I ask myself this question: am I willing to do what I need to do in order for this to work? And the answer is all the time yes, 100% yes. It really is true. Life is what you make of it.